morning. Quantum Healing Collective. I like that. What, QHC?
Yeah, that's us, man.
QVC has nothing on you guys. I'm telling you, it is a grand rising. One thing for sure this morning is that Yaulanda and I are so happy and delighted to just be in this presence, in your presence, and we are already full just with the meditation this morning. And Kyle, we want to thank you for the invitation, and we thank God for the friendship that was started with Kyle and I and Yaulanda. He actually was our host on a Pure Present Summit that we were involved in a couple of weeks ago. That's how we met Kyle, and he was our internal host for our presentation. And we just know that that's the beginning of a eternal relationship, right, Kyle?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that was a blast. And when I heard you guys, it, like, you know, when you hear somebody's message and you just instantly awaken, that's how I felt when you guys were sharing. And on top of that, I think you're like the coolest couple I've ever met. They embody who I want to become. And there was so many, yeah, so many characteristics of just the way you were behaving and just presenting yourselves that I was like, wow, they are the truth and they're living it, and they got to come, you know, share their message with the Quantum Healing Collective. So we're so grateful you're here.
Kyle, it's not often during a meditation that I am brought to physically my body smile. But you did that twice when you said think of some place or someone. And so, you know, our new grandson, and we just got to spend a few days with him. So, and then saw him in a little man, he's 5 months old, 4.5 months old. Saw him in a little man outfit on yesterday that was just adorable. And then you said, oh, it might be a dog. Well, our grand dog was downstairs. So both of those are a little taste of heaven for us. I want to say real quickly, guys, it's really great to meet you all, to actually see your faces.
Yes.
We know who you are because we are all one. And we say namaste to all of you all.
Yes.
I also want to acknowledge a few of our people are on. So I'm going to say good morning to Oliver's mom, Catherine.
Yeah,
Blue,
good morning, Mother.
Who is going to be 88 in just a few days. And so she's on our Zoom call. So really, really excited that Miss Blue is on, and a few of our other friends, Sherwood, Pearl, love you guys. All right. So, well, truly OB, truly actually stands for the real you loves you. And what we're going to talk about today is what the real you is. Our journey, our spiritual journey has been, we started out in traditional Christianity and just had lots and lots of questions. You know, we wanted to know who is responsible for everything. You know, I mean, who is this?
The ultimate question.
Yeah. Who is responsible for everything? And who am I? And what am I doing here? What am I to do while I'm here? If I'm to do anything, just don't want to sit around. Number one, don't want to spend my time hurting others. And certainly want to make certain that I'm going to be doing making a good deposit.
Out of our own hurt.
Out of our own hurt. So, we read a lot of things. We learned early on in spirituality to be quiet. Our practice was prayer, and that's always there was noise. You know, there's lots of in our circle, it was lots of begging and pleading. And I just thought that as a parent, you don't make your child just constantly keep asking for the same thing over and over and over again. And so I was like, okay, we get something, let's see what's going on here. So we learned early on to honor the space of quiet. And we began to hear. And we were like, wow, okay. So we are familiar with connecting with spirit. We are familiar with connecting with source. As a matter of fact, we believe that we are one with source because a puppy is every bit as much a dog as a dog is. So you can't be, you can't be a puppy and not be a dog. So I cannot be part of source. No, I can't come from and not be source. So we decided to not resist that. We decided to embrace what that is. And what we actually asked was we wanted to unite with all that we are supposed to be. So that's how we got to where we are. We've been married for 30 years. We have 3 adult children, a grand dog, and now a grandson, and we are thrilled. I thought the kids was fun, and it was. I mean, I stayed home with them. I resigned from a job and committed my life to them. But this grandbaby, and everyone says, oh, it's so different. It is.
It is.
Oh my gosh, it is. He can, everything he does is great. We're like, oh,
yeah.
Who would ever have thought?
It's almost like it's a greater level of responsibility for that next generation than it is for your own kids. And I didn't understand it until we had the experience. So there you go. So we do have a deck of slides to show you. Yaulanda loves to create these written presentations for 2 reasons. Number one, to keep me on task. I'm the left brainer in the group. She's the right brainer, if that means anything. That just means that I highly developed that part of my beingness, and she highly developed that structural part of her beingness.
I'm a mom and a wife, so I'm jumping from both sides all the time. Okay.
And we also develop.
Get it right.
We also develop these slides when we speak like this, so that we understand that people learn in different ways, not only verbally but visually. A lot of times it gives us opportunity to touch everyone in your areas of strength. So we like to have slides, and then we like to send it out for you to have something to meditate on after the fact. So anyway, so she's gonna share the screen here.
So here we go. Oh. Is it this one?
Yes. Hey, make sure you do this, share computer and optimize.
That was
and hit share.
Ready, chosen.
And then hit the presentation thing up top.
Hold on.
And we hit you more over here to get rid of that. Get rid of the panel.
Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Hold on, guys.
Technology.
Okay,
there you go. So we still can see you guys. So I hide what? Video panel? High floating control.
There we go.
And voila. Can you guys see that?
I'm gonna actually go to the next one. All right. So we're gonna be talking about the real you.
The real you, yeah, it's true. Yeah, you know. And this subject of the real you, truly the real you, our coaching business, all was birthed out of our own. Really, it came out of my own personal struggle. A year before Yaulanda and I met, I had this out of this world encounter with spirit, with God, whatever. And let us preference our presentation with this also. Words cannot adequately describe what we're really trying to communicate. In fact, the Course in Miracles says that words are twice removed from the truth. But being that we're in this incarnation as humans, there has to be some form of communication, and so we use words. But we know that ultimately words are not adequately to accurately describe what we're talking about. So I had in this encounter about a year before.
So we're going to say this right quick. So while we are accustomed to source, universe, we were accustomed to calling that God. It doesn't matter what you call whatever you believe is the source of all of everything. Okay, because as we have done quite a bit of research, we've not studied all, but we see that almost all spiritual journeys, traditional, whatever they are,
Religions, yeah.
There are three components that all of us usually have. And that is, there's a love component, a forgiveness component, and then there is a caring for
each
other, the brotherhood, the collective, whatever it is that you
the
want
collective,
to call it.
yes.
Okay. So we were, even when we were in traditional Christianity, we were taught the lesson by Spirit that we don't take anything for granted, and we don't discard anything, because however anyone gets to that source is great. So you may hear us say Spirit, or you may hear us say God.
You may hear us say Jesus.
I may say Oliver,
or Kyle.
I mean,
it's all the one.
So okay, so we're gonna just do that. And so nothing that we're saying is meant to offend or anything like that. So you hear what you hear, and whatever you hear that's for you is great and wonderful. And if not, put it on the shelf, because it's gonna come back. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And what we have found out in 31 years on this journey is the most important thing that any being can give attention to is to know thyself. That is the ultimate experience. BMW said that their ultimate experience is their driving machine. But I believe, from my own personal experience, that the ultimate experience is to know thyself. And the Course in Miracles mentioned it and says that the goal of the curriculum, and the curriculum basically is your life. Your life is the curriculum. That is what is being used to bring you to this place of happiness and joy and peace and awareness. And so the goal of the curriculum, or the goal of your life, regardless of the teacher you choose or the path that you choose, is to know yourself.
So if you're familiar with the Course in Miracles book, that we're using the combined volume, 2nd edition, and that's in the text, chapter 8, section 3. That's paragraph 5. That's in sentence 1. Okay. All right.
Okay. Can you move the pictures?
I can't.
Okay.
So awareness of love's presence as our self is our natural state. That's our true reality. It's our true home. So love's presence as self is who we really are. We're going to actually get into a little more of knowing that in the text, chapter 3, verse 10. Paragraph 8, sentence 9. Okay, so you guys can just read that part. I'm not going to do all of that, but that's where you can find that at.
It says, know yourself. Do not perceive yourself in different lights. Know yourself in the one light, where the miracle that you are is perfectly clear.
So the reason that we chose that one is because we seriously believe in this oneness. We believe, well, I'm not going to get ahead of myself. Okay. I'm not going to do that. So we're going to move forward quickly because we want to have some discussion. So who is the real you?
And like we said earlier, words cannot describe who God is or who we are in our ultimate state. Words can only, again, they are twice removed from reality. And so we use words actually to describe some of the characteristics of the real you. And through our 31 years of this spiritual journey, these are some of the characteristics, some of them, that we have found to be prevalent in all spiritual paths, in all spiritual community, that who we really are has to do with these qualities. Again, not adequate to describe ultimately who we are as spiritual beings.
You do the left, I'll do the right.
So love,
Oneness,
and pure spirit,
awareness,
infinite,
eternal and timeless,
innocence,
holiness or wholeness,
peace,
joy.
unalterable, changeless,
That means we're birthless, we're deathless,
sinless,
guiltless.
fearless.
Okay, so that's just, we're not doing an exhaustive list. What we'd like for you guys to do is to go into the chat and write a few things that resonate with you as to who the real you is. Kyle, can you see some of those? We've actually got your pictures on the screen, so we can't see just yet.
Waiting for me. I think everyone's got it. I see compassion.
Yes, love that.
Laughter. Peace. Awareness. Eternal. Love. Fearless. Infinite. Love. Deathless. Creative expression. I am one. I am soul. Having a human experience. Motivate. Loving away.
Outstanding. So see, we could actually, we could do this for a while, okay? And those are great responses. So we just did a few so that we can see that. Well, let me not get ahead of myself.
So ultimately, we can encapsulate all of that into what is our true essential nature as beings. And we brought it down to three elements of our, what is our, when we talk about the real you, we're talking about our essential nature. And so what we have found in our own experience is that we are eternal. That just basically means that we're beyond time and space. Who we are did not start at our physical birth.
And it will not end.
And it will not end.
When we transition from this state to the next.
So we are eternal beings. And it appears that everything in this time and space experience that we're having speaks to us the opposite, that there is a beginning and that there is an end. But that's just coming from a limited mind that has limitations. Mm-hmm. But in our essential self, we are eternal. So how can a mind that is limited or finite, how can it perceive that which is eternal? It's impossible. And that's why we wrestle a lot in our own thoughts and in our own limitations, because we are trying to have the experience of our essential self as the eternal, timeless being through a finite mind. Therein lies the conflict. Because the finite mind cannot, in fact, scripture says that the carnal mind or the finite mind cannot know the things of the spirit. It cannot know the things of eternity. It cannot know it. And a lot of times in our personal experience where we don't understand the conflict is we're trying to have that timeless experience or sense that timeless self through a finite mind, and it just doesn't work.
So then what we do is we assign names to what is creating the issue, and there's this big enemy, and there, you know, it's not that it's an enemy, it's the inner me that is warring with, you know, that mind that is warring with what our eternal limitless self is. So infinite, so he's talked about without limits.
Yeah, basically,
bit there.
basically, and our essential nature is we are without limits. But then we find ourselves in this body mind suit, this bodysuit. We find ourselves in this world of time and space that is full of limits. Again, it's contrary to our essential nature. Therein lies the conflict. But when we're talking about the real you, again, we're talking about the essential nature of who we are. And we all know this within ourselves because we all sense this within our in our infinite self and in our eternal self, within all of us.
And we actually practice this when
Yes.
we're children. We practice this as children. And then the adults in the room are the ones that tell us and condition us, no, you can't do that. No, it's not time. No, no, no. You know, children don't, they don't believe that they cannot do everything. They can, you know, they can be whatever. And all of that is fine until we, as parents,
Put the limits
on them. So it's great for us to understand this so that we don't then create the opportunity for our children to have to remove the blocks that we actually have placed in their lives.
Absolutely. And then the final essential part of our nature has to do with awareness. The one common thing we can all agree on here is that we all, in this space right now, we all are aware. We are aware of being present. We are aware of the screen that we're looking at. We are aware of the people that we see on these screens. We are aware that we are aware. And that's, to me, was the largest, the most powerful discovery for myself, is that the reality that I am aware. I was aware before birth, just have forgotten it, and I will be aware even after I lay down this bodysuit. And awareness is so essential to all of us. And to me, that is the part of us, like scripture said, that we were made in God's image. Well, what is that image? Having awareness. Because without awareness, which is our essential self, we cannot have any of these other experiences. We cannot have an experience of being in a body, being in a world. We can't even have the experience of being separate, which we know that is only a temporary illusion. The reality is we're not separate. We are all of that one single self, that one single source. And when we become aware of that, which I call all-knowing, to me, that is the most essential part of our nature. Just think about it, from the day that you was born until even this present moment. The one thing that was present in all your experience was that you was aware of what was happening. And many times in that awareness, it's like going to the movie and you're watching the film. And when you're watching that film, you're thinking you're aware of what's going on the screen. And that screen is being colored by actors and by actions and by movement and sounds and sets. But there's one thing constant there, and that is that the screen that the movie is being displayed on, it remained constant. And all the activity that's going on in that movie, on that screen, is almost like the experiences that we have in our life. Even our life is all the activities. But the reality is who we really are, the real you, is the awareness of all of this.
And that awareness is vitally important because once we understand the awareness, it can drive our decisions. It can drive, determine how we interact with each other, with things. So that awareness is quite important.
Quite important. You can go to the next one.
Oh, so ultimately, the real you is love, which sacred scripture says that it encompasses everything, everything that is good and holy and great is encompassed in that one word, love.
What am I? And this is taken again from the Course in Miracles. You want to read it?
I like this one. This is part of my morning meditation. I like this because it just reminds my mind of how I want to direct myself. Okay, so this is in the workbook, part 2, in section 14. And it is entitled, What Am I? I am God's son, complete and healed and whole, shining in the reflection of his love. In me is his creation sanctified and guaranteed eternal life. In me is love perfected, fear impossible, and joy established without opposite. I am the holy home of God himself. I am the heaven where his love resides. I am his holy sinlessness itself, for in my purity abides his own. It says to me that God entrusts me with with a lot, because I am he and he is I. So we do the I amness. We do these words that are not correct. But this is a phenomenal, I believe. This is phenomenal for us to embrace for ourselves. Okay. So
Okay.
Stop.
So we're going to stop sharing here. That was the deck that we prepared to keep Oliver on track.
Oh, stop it a second.
Oh, it just hit stop.
Stop sharing. Oh, there you go.
There you go.
That just helps me to move him forward, because he can get in one place and stay there. And it's great, because when we can do that all day, but.
So we can really sum up what we spoke about. Who are you? Who's the real you? Know thyself. In the sense that in reality for us is that there's only the one single source, the one single being, which we call God.
And we're not separated from that source. Neither are we separated from each other.
Yes. And just like we're looking at this screen, there are 20 or 30 different emanations on this screen, but there's a single source. And when you understand the oneness that we are, because there is but the one.
So sacred scriptures taught us that I am my brother's keeper. But what we've now come to understand is it's not that I am my brother's keeper. I am my brother. What I do unto anyone else is actually what I'm doing to myself.
Because there's only the one of us.
Because there is but the one of us.
And then there's only the one source that we all emanate from. So really, I made a couple notes here, and I want to share. So what we're talking about ultimately is that God is the only reality. And as a result of that reality, we get to be an expression of that in this time-space world that we're in. And the experience that we're having is that because God is, we have these individuated experiences, and we always start out with I am. So because God is, I am. But there's no place where God is begin and I am in. So there is only the one experience. Just like, again, we take the analogy of the movie. When you got what's always constant is in the movie, even before the movie starts or even after it's in, is the screen remains constant. The screen is always there. And so when we talk about the real you, we're not talking about this physical manifestation, but we're talking about that which is always constant, which is your awareness, your oneness with that single source, our oneness with that single being, which most religions call God. And so all of the experiences of our life, from our birth to our death, all these experiences is just like the movie on the screen. These are just the activities that come out of the one source. So when we talk about the real you, it's not the activities of our lives, but it's the one source that we share in God, because it's really blasphemous for us to think or even to say that we are separate and apart from God. Because to say that is to deny.
Sacred scripture calls it blasphemous. It's arrogance. It
Yes.
is very arrogant for
Yes.
us to say that we are separated from
from God,
from the source that created us.
That's right. Because to say it is to deny that single one beingness, that's one source. But to say that I am God, or I am one with God, which is what Jesus said in his day. And remember, for him, he got crucified and persecuted for even mentioning the fact that he and his Father was one. Why? Because ultimately he was saying he was a part or a shared part of that oneness. And as a result of him saying that, the mindset of his day could not accept that reality. That was still, the reality is still what it is. And even in today, there's a lot that have not accepted the reality of who they really are. They see their incarnation as their real self and don't really understand, and then see all these other separated selves. Therein, now we have a world of division and strife, and we see all the turmoil that is present. It's because of being unaware of the reality, but that we all are one, that there is but the one. But and basically love means, the word love means that we all share the one self. That's what love means. That's why I said in scripture, it says God is love. God is saying it is but the one self. And to acknowledge yourself as the I am, which is the expression of that one self, you acknowledging the reality of the real you, which is part of that one self. And so we emanate that. We express those characteristics that we put up on the screen earlier, of love and joy and peace and oneness and tranquility, and just then we find our purpose in that.
So we taught these, we live this, so we're teaching this to our children. Our 6-year-old son brought my purse to me and said, I'd like the keys to the car. And I said, why? He said, I'm going to drive. And I said, oh, no, you're not going to drive. He's like, I and my father are one. He drives the car, and today I'm going to drive the car. And I thought, whoa. So here I am trying to explain to him why he's not driving the car. And so I was doing you're under governors and tutors. And wait, after about an hour and a half, I actually just boiled it down to, well, you're not tall enough to see. And so every day for quite some time, he would ask me to measure him to see if he was tall enough to drive. I also decided to remove my keys from my purse from that point on, because he knew where they were. So
absolutely,
these can make for some very interesting conversations with your kids.
So Cal, we wanted to leave some time for any Q&A, just in case we want to have some dialogue. Thank you again for the time, and hopefully something that we said this morning, something that we shared will touch the deepest part of you guys.
It always does. That's why I love hearing from you guys. Thank you so much. Every time you guys speak, it brings me to that place of oneness and, presence. And that's like the best place to be, that's where the miracles.
The only place to be.
You can feel yourself healing. And I just thank you guys so much. So you guys have already got a bunch of questions from me in the past. So I'll open it up to the Quantum Healing Collective to see who wants to ask some questions or just share in general. So If anyone has a question, just raise your hand. Or you can, oh, Kristen, awesome.
Oh, that's Kristen.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
That was amazing. Thank you so much for the presentation, and just you can feel like your alignment with the truth, and it was just so beautiful. So I just wanted to say thank you guys first. But Oliver, you said you were starting to say that you had this profound experience with spirit, and that was what led you on to this journey. And I'm just like really curious what that experience was for you and what it was like. And I just want to hear a little bit of your story.
Well, it was actually the culmination of my self-inquiry. I was 29 years old, and I was married. I had just had my first son. Both my wife and I was at the beginning of our careers. We had just bought our second home. In other words, everything that the world calls success, we were experiencing that. However, there was a place in me that was empty. There was a place in me that was curious. There was a place in me that wanted to know what was beyond, because I had attained,
Fear.
yeah, and I had attained all these things, but then there was an emptiness. You know, when I sit around and look and say, hey, I got the job, I got the wife, I got the kid, I got the money, I got, the friends, but what is it for? And so it was in that quest to find out, to know thyself. That's basically the journey that I was on. It's the journey that all of us are on. We come here forgetting everything that we knew before we got here, only to get on the quest to find. It's almost like God's playing a game with us, or God is playing a game with himself. He loses himself and then he goes find himself. You remember when you was a kid, there was a game called hide and seek. And so that's kind of where I found myself. And as a result of that, I reached back to what my mom taught us in the religion that we were raised in, which was Christianity. So I started just reading the Bible on my own. And this went on for about a month. And eventually I had this undescribable experience with love, I guess how you would call it, presence, in my home, in my bed, 3 o'clock in the morning, just laying there reading the Bible. And it just clicked. The awareness just happened in a moment. And I just seen myself for who I really was. And the love that I was a part of. And all of that, the download came all at once. Purpose, awareness, infinity, eternity, all that came front and center with me. There was I look at it now, and it was like my humanity and my divinity intersected. And there was a big bang, there was an explosion. And then from that point, it put me on a quest to unpack that, to really discover what all that was about. And tragically enough, a year, actually 12 months later, I actually lost my first wife in a tragic event, and devastating. You've heard of dark nights of the soul. I guess that was my experience. I lost my wife, and now I was left with a 2.5-year-old son. But out of that, I met Yaulanda, and I can tell you something about Yaulanda and I. When we met, it was part of that download, that experience that I had. And because I beginning to hear the spirit talk from within me. And so we made a decision to join together for the purpose of this discovering who we really were. It wasn't about love. Our marriage came out of a decision to walk this journey together to understand and to find out who we were. And so we got married out of that purpose. Now, out of 30 years, we've learned and we have fallen in love with one another on the journey. But
so what makes this phenomenal is I didn't know him. I don't recommend that you do this at home. Okay. I didn't know him. We went to the same church. He was actually a licensed minister. I sang in the choir. We were in the choir together. But when I met him, I met his wife and his son. And he was a married man. I was a single woman. So, you know, other than waving in the group, I just didn't have any reason to have interaction with him because he was married and I was single. But when the tragedy happened, I remember praying and interceding for him as though it were my own family, because I kept thinking, how horrible is this? This man with this young child, and now the child's mother is not there. The child's looking for his mom, and he was clearly walking around not knowing, you know, what to do. And I remember as I cried out, I remember hearing the voice say, well, will you get involved in making certain that he lives the life that he's supposed to live? Because my prayer was, I didn't want this instant to cause he and his son not to fulfill their purpose and their assignment that was here in the earth. And so I actually, we did this. I didn't do this by myself. There were 4 other women. We got together with the pastor of the church. We asked if we could offer them long-term support. And we were doing this even out of his presence. There were 3 of us that were single, but I was the only one who was young and didn't have any children, didn't have any responsibilities. So I made certain that I was never around him at all by myself, because I just didn't think that distraction, you know, needed to be there. And a lot of things happened. We ended up being assigned as prayer partners, which I tried to get out of, prayer buddies. I tried to get out of. I thought he should have
couldn't get out of it, baby.
I thought he should have a mature male, you know, because I mean, it was a lot of stuff that was going on.
No, I didn't need a mature male. I needed you.
So what I did was, when the choir director just seemed so oblivious, he was like, no, I think this is fine. I kept saying, this is not fine. I was like, and he was supposed to have been waiting. Instead, he kept creeping up. He was like, is there a problem? So once, you know, he was like, let's just do this. And so I just laid down the law. I was like, you know, this is what we're going to do. I'm busy. I was in graduate school. I was like, I don't have time for foolishness. So anyway, long story short, my family has a history of, we care for whoever it is in the community. It doesn't matter who it is. We don't have to know you. We don't have to be related to you. If you have a need and we have resources, we're sharing those resources with you. So, you know, I was taking care of his son. As a matter of fact, I was 5 minutes from his son's day sitter. And of course the child wasn't eating. So I could go over, you know, leave work very quickly, go over, you know, address all of that. So in no time at all, Oliver's saying, oh my goodness, I can't believe that, you know, I now actually even want to move forward in my life. And you brought me so much joy. And, you know, I want, you know, I'd like to bring you this joy. You know, I'm wondering if you'll be involved in our life. And I was incredibly offended. I'm thinking, I've offered you good Christian brotherly love, and you're trying to make this something else. I was furious. But then the bizarre thing happened. My mother called me and told me, she said, I had a dream. I dreamed that you got married. And I'm going to just tell you what my mother said. She said, the guy's name, she said, you know, is that white man name. And she couldn't think of what the name is, but she had told my dad. And so she was calling out these names, and my dad was saying, no. Well, the name was Oliver. She didn't know.
The white man name.
Well, it was from Green Acres. Oliver and Zsa Zsa Gabor were married, and they had the pig Arnold. And so we had pigs, and all of them were named Arnold. Anyway, that's why she said the white man name. And then she described Oliver's house. She'd never been there, but she described this house. And I'm thinking, you know, I dropped the phone, you know, and this was back before we had caller ID. So I hung up the phone. I'm thinking, oh my God. And my mom called me back. She was like, what the world's going on? The very next day, we were doing this, we were reading this book, and we'd wake up in the morning and we would say, Holy Spirit, we're available. We make ourselves available to do whatever it is that you would have us to do in order to help heal, the brotherhood. And I heard very clearly, I have opened unto you the windows of heaven and poured you out a blessing. Will you receive it? I heard it to the point, and it kept getting louder, that I started looking around my apartment. I'm going through all the rooms to look to see what in the world's going on. And I don't see anyone. And I'm thinking, okay, what in the world? 30 minutes later, Oliver calls and he says, you'll never guess what happened. He said, I woke up this morning. He said, and I said, good morning, Holy Spirit. I make myself available. He said, and I heard this, I have opened unto you the windows of heaven and poured you out a blessing. Will you not receive it? I hung up on him again. So that was the second time I had hung up on somebody. So we've had a lot of phenomenal experience.
Mystical
so we
experience,
didn't date, we didn't court. It wasn't that there, I had my own idea of what was going to happen. I like long engagements. None of that. It was just none of that.
In fact, I married Yaulanda.
It was 5 months.
5 months after the death of my wife. That's how quickly this happened. Now, I don't know why Kristen asked the question and why we're giving this response, but
because we don't generally tell this story.
I'm sensing that there's things that trying to emerge in all of your life right now, but because it doesn't line up with tradition, it doesn't line up with what makes sense, or it doesn't line up with what the world would call reason, you're not stepping into that. There's something trying to emerge in your life, but it's going to take courage, boldness on your part to say, I don't give a pandemic what the world thinks.
Or a damn panic.
Or a damn panic what the world thinks.
Yeah.
I'm going to step into this because this is life trying to come through me. This is something that the world needs, and only I can bring this forth. And as you do that, and you need to do that, you will begin to experience this level of yourself that you've never experienced before. But it will not be you will not get consensus from the masses. You already know within yourself what that is. And see, as coaches, this is the one thing that we focus on when we work with people, is that we know that inside of each and every human being, there is life trying to emerge in a unique way. That's why you said yes to the incarnation. And so we told that story now, as I'm hearing, only to take this moment to say to each,
which we do not do. We don't share this, we don't share
right,
the story.
Which is to say to each and every one of you that to say yes to your dream, say yes to that which is seeking to emerge in your life. That is your life. That is the peace that you're looking for. That's where your place of tranquility is.
And I was able to say yes without fear. I mean, because I didn't know him and I didn't love him. I loved the son. When we got married, he was about to be 2.5. I loved the little boy. He was 2 years old, cute as a button, mean as all get out, but cute as a button. I loved the son. And I knew that within me was the capacity to love and to love deeply. And I wanted a deep, meaningful, loving relationship. And, and then after we got married, I thought, my mom has taken care of a whole lot of people's children. She didn't marry any of their daddies. She only married my dad. And I was like, how did I get a husband on top? So, but it was, there was a lot of talk. And I actually didn't care because I knew that what I was doing was for the greater good. I did not want that young man to not be able to live a full-on, complete, whole life where he was going to be a contributing individual to society, because of this great trauma that had happened in his life. And I decided to get involved to make certain that is what happened for him.
And then we went on to have 2 of our own children. All our kids are millennials. Brooks, who was 2.5 at the time, he's 32 now. He's married and he's brought forth our first grandson. Brooks is a tremendous individual. And you know, he's an entrepreneur. He owns his own insurance agency. And Yaulanda, I'm so grateful that she stepped into our life and said yes, because she was highly instrumental into the person he's become. And these two are, you know, I don't even get between those two, the love between those two. And so and that goes to show you that, like we said earlier, there is but the one love, and we all share that one love.
Mhm.
Even though we're in separate expressions, but we are aware that we are of that one being. God is, therefore I am, therefore you are.
Mhm.
And we just encourage you to say yes to the real you. Say yes to that which is seeking to emerge in your life.
Always say yes to love.
Yes.
Al-
Say
al-
yes because to
always
say
say
yes
yes
to
to
your
love.
dream is saying yes to love,
Always say yes to love.
because it's coming from the one source. And whatever that yes is, the source will provide whatever has already provided, whatever you need.
So the son ends up being my first, my gift as a son. He ends up being my parents' first grandchild, the first grandson. So my mother, when my Oliver went and wanted my parents' blessing for our marriage. As soon as he and my father had their private conversation after we had all talked, my mom came in. She's like, "Well, is it a yes?" And my dad was like, Absolutely." My mother gets on the phone and immediately calls all of her sisters, and she says, "I've got my first grandbaby. I have a grandson. I don't have any brothers, and that's why this was so phenomenal." She's like, "I have a grandson," and that's the way it's always been in our family. He is our first child. There's never been a step, half, or anything. He's not half of an individual.
No.
So none of that has ever happened. And a lot of people, we lived this. It was nothing phenomenal. So a lot of people don't even know that I didn't physically give birth to him. Now, we didn't remove his, people would come to the house and they'd see the family pictures. They see the mom and they're looking at the mom, they're looking at me, they're looking at Oliver, and they're like, no one ever asked. And if they'd asked, I'd have been more than happy to tell them. But, it's just, Brooks wanted a sister. He asked for a sister. He wanted a sister. And I was like, I don't know if we're having any more. And he's like, "Oh, sorry." He said, "I already asked God and God said yes." When he asked, I was actually already pregnant. I didn't even know. So we had that sister.
Right.
And then the two of them decided she wanted a real baby. So she wanted a baby, but she wanted it to be a boy. She didn't want a girl. She wanted a brother. And so she and Brooks came and they were like, "Oh, Mom, you have to."
And we had said we wasn't going to have any more.
You had said we weren't going to have any more. And I had accepted that. So we weren't doing this. She was like 18 months old. And she was like, "We'd like to have a baby. I want a brother. I don't want a sister. So just bring me a baby brother." And I said, "Well, sweetie, we're not having any more." She was like, "Oh," she patted me on the shoulder. She said, "Oh, bless your heart." She said, "We already asked God and he said yes." I was pregnant. We had that baby. So she had her real life baby. She stopped playing with dolls. She had a real life baby.
So 32, 28, and 26.
And 26.
And we've been empty nesters since 2012. Officially 2017, when the last one graduated from college and got his name on his own apartment. So now we're getting to do the things in life that we didn't understand way back then, 30 years ago when we got married. But now we understand what the curriculum of our lives, the curriculum. You remember the slide we put up that says the curriculum, which is your life, which is your incarnation, your birth, and everything that happens from birth until this very moment has been instrumental to bring you and all of us together in this one place, so you can hear what we're saying, so that you can move forward in step with the purpose for which you were brought here, the purpose for which you agreed to come. You agreed for this incarnation. You said, just like Jesus said, "Okay, I'll go down there." They think they're separate. They think they don't know the Father. They don't know God as Father. They built all these religious systems that only frustrate them even more. "Father, I'll go down there and I will start the reconciliation process. I will start the atonement process. And so Jesus incarnated, did what he did, left the scene, and lo and behold, we make a religion out of him. That's not what he intended. He came to show us who the Father was, the fatherhood of God and the brotherhood of man, that there's only one Father and that we're all brothers. That's why the world is in turmoil today, is because they don't know who they are. They don't know the real self.
And we have a very wrong perception of God.
And yes.
We have a very wrong perception.
And
of God.
so you chose to come also to clean this mess up. So something in your life, and and regardless of what that's trying to emerge, but it's all part of waking up the sonship. It could be in sports, or it could be in entertainment. It could be whatever your skill set in your past has something to do with what will make you come alive and will bring the greatest gift to the world. And you keep suppressing it and denying it. No, that's life speaking to you. Your longings is life speaking to you. Your discontent, saying, I don't want no more of this. That's life speaking to you. It's speaking to us. So I don't know how we got there, Kyle, but.
Oh man, I'm glad we did.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. There was so much power in that response. I mean, wow, thank you, Kristen, for that question, because it just all unfolded beautifully. So I'll see if does anyone else have a question or want to ask something? That was fantastic. And I think you're right. Like, that message is definitely like that came forth. I think it's meant for everybody, you know, just follow spirit, follow your dreams. Oh, Angela, awesome.
Hi.
Hi, Angela.
So, boy, I don't know. I'm just going to talk. I have been working a lot with the concept of being one, with everything, you know, with the universe and all the people and the animals and all the plants, and, you know, it resonates with me. It's very deep within me. So I'm just so happy to hear this message today. I'm also working a lot with coincidences and synchronicities in my life, and recognizing each little thing that happens like every day. And as soon as it's very simple. Like, I have some other really advanced practices that I struggle with, but that one seemed to be real simple. As soon as I started, it was just like, they're just showing up left and right. So I just wanted to say, I have a very varied background in all kinds of religions, you know, and so today is the second day of Navaratri in the Hindu festival, which is the worship of the Divine Mother. And so God is mother, God, you know, in the female form, and there's the color of the day is blue. So I thought it was really cool that your name is blue.
Yeah.
And also there's a mantra, a sutra for today, for Sundays, which is Aham Brahmasmi, which is I am the universe. So basically this whole time you've been saying I am in your talk, and like, so, you know, in my head it's like aham.
Yeah.
It's just the coolest synchronicity. It feels great. It feels wonderful. I feel an incredible amount of gratitude today for you coming to our group, for all of you in our group. I just am incredibly grateful, and I want to express that. Another thing that was interesting is, so my second friend, who was pretty young-ish, I don't know, in general, told me last night that she has breast cancer. And this is the second one. She's like 57. And then a couple months ago, it was with my other friend who is 40. And it's not surprising news to me, because I feel like these are two people that are, you know, that I have seen how, you know, they're living their lives they're living their lives with a lot of fear and a lot of negativity and stuff like that. So, I mean, the fact that I don't know, you know what, but anyway, a lot of medical problems seem to be popping up with the people that surround me. And I believe a lot of it has to do with the pandemic and the fact that people are living every day in this fear, you know, and I think people are creating these things in their bodies. So, you know, I talked to her last night for like an hour, and, you know, she's very much on the path. She's actually in this group. I just haven't gotten her to come to a group yet. but so I asked after I got off the phone with her, I did just a little meditation, like, how can I help? How can I help? And the answer I got was to like, uh, you know, it was along this whole line of, how everything is one and we're all one. And so how I can help her best is to continue to heal myself.
Yes.
So I did, so I worked, especially, hers is breast cancer. And I have a lot of, energy that I work with around breast, a lot of like things that I'm trying to heal, about that. And so this morning I did in my meditation, I did a really intense healing, focusing on that area. And yeah, and so just using, a lot of what you have been speaking about, a lot of,
Yes.
I'm one, so how can I help her on her journey and possibly heal her breast cancer? Well, I can focus on my healing, and therefore I'm healing her. And so anyway, I'm very grateful to hear your message. Your presence is beautiful. This is light coming out of the screen, and I feel really glad to be here. I would love all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Angela. I'm going to say first before Oliver responds. So we have an Indian family that we've been friends with for
20 years.
20 years or so. I mean, we have dinner with them in their home. We get to
Go to their
participate in those
weddings.
fabulous weddings and the whole 9 yards. So and India is my that's the people that I've been praying for since I was in kindergarten. Didn't even know where India was, but I knew that I was called to pray for India. And so I did that. And so I love everything about Indian culture, just the whole nine, just love it. I mean, just absolutely, have saris, we wear the outfits, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
So that is that.
Yes. So we're in if you want to look it up, or if you want to read about, we're in the 10 days of it's a 10-day festival, the Divine.
Well, they share a lot of that. They share a lot of that stuff. We spend so much time with them that they speak to us, and they speak to us in Hindi. We're like, we don't speak that. We don't speak that. But they talk to us, and we spend so much time with this. They talk as though we do, and somehow or another we understand.
Yeah.
we don't question it, and it's fine. But so as far as your friend,
yeah, I was just gonna say, Angela, the one thing that's been constant in your life is your presence and your awareness of the struggles of those that are around you. Course in Miracles says that when you accept the atonement for yourself, you accept it for the entire sonship. So you're exactly right to focus on staying in the awareness of your own wholeness and your own healing. Therefore, you are transmitting a vibration in the time-space continuum to all those that you are connected with. And you're connected with everyone through mind. And so just your presence, your love is part of your friends, because it's not really about healing her breast cancer. What really needs to be healed is their sense of separation. Because cancer is an illusion. The body, mind, time is an illusion. What's real is the awareness of the one thing is all thing. There is but the one thing, God is. And so we're having this I am experience as an expression of God is. And we know that in pure presence, there is no sickness. There is no separation. There is no lack. There's only infinite, eternal experience of oneness. And so part of your curriculum is emerging with these relationships you're having. So, consider yourself as a healer, because you are. You're part of the collective here, the quantum collective healer. I mean, it's not by accident. So you're to show up in the world as a savior and as a healer by your presence. A lot of times you don't have to say anything. is your beingness. The fact that you've accepted for yourself, you've accepted for everyone, because I and my brother are one. So what you accept for yourself, you accept for your brother. And then you extend that in the activities of your life.
So she's your friend, and so it will be comforting and helpful for her when you ask her, what is it that you'd like for me to do for you? What can I do for you?
Right.
Okay. So you ask her that, and you support her. So since we're here and we've heard that, I'd like to ask us if we would all participate with Angela and her friend. So can we do this? Can we, one, notice what we're noticing about ourselves? Let's notice what we're noticing about what's going on. And let's just do this, and not just now, but we're going to do this. Notice what we're noticing. Okay. Then let's do the practice of forgiveness for that. Let's forgive that, whatever it is that we're noticing, and forgive ourselves for it. And then let's offer that forgiveness and non-judgment. Let's offer that to Angela's friend. Let's do this for ourselves. We're going to notice what we're noticing. Whatever it is that we have not forgiven, we're going to forgive that and forgive ourselves for our part in that. Let's forgive ourselves for that. And then let's take that non-judgment and share that non-judgment to Angela's friend in love. Can we all do that? And can we commit to do that for her so that Angela's friend can know that she is not alone? We don't even have to know what her name is, but I promise you that as I do my meditation, I love to do the loving kindness meditation that the Dalai Lama does. And I like to read it. I'm going to do it right now, but I like to read it to make certain that I don't change it. So I do this daily, and I do it for everyone that I encounter because I don't believe we have any chance encounters. Okay. So I bless all those in my life. Okay. And I especially today want to bless Angela's friend.
Yes.
Okay. May she be truly happy. May she live in peace. May she live in love. May she know the power of forgiveness. May she live in the recognition that her life has deep meaning and good purpose. That's the Dalai Lama. And then I add, may she live in the awareness of who she is in God.
Or as God.
As God, as source. May she be connected. So let's offer that to Angela's friend. And I'll make certain that we're, that I do that for her, because I certainly would want someone to do that for me.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Outstanding.
All of you. Thank you.
Yes.
Outstanding.
And we give because to give is to acknowledge or to recognize that we already have it for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So we extend that to our brothers.
And the Course says that we share miracles. Those of us who are stronger share miracles with those who are weaker at that moment.
At that moment.
So at their time of need, that's when we do these things. And then once they get to the point
where they can stand in the space for themselves.
When they stand in the space for themselves, then guess what? They can do that to someone else.
Yes.
This is how we heal.
Yes.
This is how we collectively get better.
Quantum healing collective. I love that. Y'all have us back. We're gonna make sure you're sending us the link, Kyle, because we're gonna want to join in just to be spectators and friends, because you are our friends now.
Yeah.
And I think you also meet one night during the week. Is that correct?
So probably like once a month we meet on Wednesday nights, and then every Sunday morning. So we would
Please put us on the email list.
Yeah, we would love to have you guys here.
Can I just say I love Jeremy's vote. Yes.
Yes.
Are you raising your hand? Is this?
Oh, Rick.
Rick, yeah. Hey, Rick.
Yes, I am raising my hand.
Outstanding.
Wow. Thank you for seeing me. But I just want to add, this is not ironic at all. I've been reading A Course in Miracles with one of my mentors for the past like 2 weeks at 6 a.m. every day. And it's been so transformational just in how I go out to serve every single day, just being miracle minded. And you two touched on so many things that resonated with me that I can't really pick one. What I can speak on is just I've been realizing how connected I am with everything. I knew that previously until I started really looking at the actions of others when they're around me, and just seeing the connectedness and stepping into leadership. It's like, it's interesting because people just, everything duplicates, right? Um, so with seeing how connected I am with everything, there was a certain point where there was almost like resistance or hesitation to really step into my calling, mainly because I was getting a lot of just not, I don't want to say slack, but just when people see you vibrating as your true self, as your authentic self, you know, confidently and not being afraid to share your message, there's a lot of fear within that. And, you know, and they project certain things and ideologies. And when I experienced a lot of that resistance and just almost shunning or almost like a crucifixion almost in certain conversations, I really took a step back and I was like, wow, like, you know, am I wrong to, you know what I mean, to voice, you know, what I not what I believe in, but just to provide questions to make people critically think. So within that, with reading A Course in Miracles and saying the St. Francis prayer after, I've really gained more confidence to know that I am God and to know that everyone else is as well, whether they are aware of it, you know, is pertaining to their present state of consciousness within their incarnation. I think everyone's exactly where they need to be. And the best thing that we can do is to do exactly what you, Oliver and Yaulanda, are doing, is holding a vibration, is holding that high vibration and stepping out into, you know, the environment and, you know, being a light to others.
Yeah.
I think that really allows people to be comfortable within their own skin.
Yes.
And to know that, okay, you know, I can, no, this may be a goal, right? Let me start asking questions. How can I get to that point? What do you do? So I just want to thank you both for your time and for your energy. This has been a great start to my rising. I don't know about everyone else, but I am like filled up.
Outstanding, outstanding. Thank you, Rick, for
Thanks, Rick.
thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for that grandiose introduction.
Yeah.
Just wanted to say one thing in response to what you said.
Mm-hmm.
Every seed produces after its own kind. God is the original seed.
And some seeds require a little more time than others.
Yes, and God is the original seed.
Right.
And all of us have been produced after that one, after the likeness of that one seed.
Mm-hmm.
And so be unapologetic about who you know yourself to be.
Mm-hmm.
You are there because you've made the decision to take your place among the saviors of the world and not hold yourself nor your brother in hell,
Mm-hmm.
by seeing him any different than God.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So sacred scripture tells us that when we trust spirit, he assures us that, and it doesn't, not he, she, that's just the way
It's not something that's separate and apart.
Yeah. But when we trust spirit, we will know in the same, the sacred scripture says self same hour, but what it means is in the moment, we will know what to do because we will get that leading and guiding
Yes.
from him. Sometimes we do need to voice. Sometimes we do. I think asking questions is a phenomenal way because you're not
Yes.
you're not imposing anything on anyone. You're just asking them to participate in the experiment of thinking.
Yes.
Okay. Sometimes you won't say anything at all. You will just be.
Yes.
Right.
Your being can be the brightest light.
Yes.
At times, you were talking about your awareness of being one with everything. Angela said this too. I remember when I was a young girl. I mean, I was like 6. I remember being so just in so much awe of the American Indians, and I respected them so much because they honored everything. They saw spirit in everything, and they reverenced everything. So they didn't destroy. You know, if they killed an animal for food, every part of that animal was held with high regard and high honor. So I remember thinking, wow, people came over and tried to change them when what they were doing was so great and wonderful. So and so what happens is those that are not in the space of consciousness or awareness, you know, it's a cry for love. And sometimes when we cry for love, it can be messy and ugly and hurtful. We see a lot of that currently. It can be messy and but we know what that is. We know that is a cry for love. So that is when we really need to hold that space of vibration and healing and awareness and oneness for all those that think they are separate, that think that they are. So, namaste to you, brother, for doing that.
Yes. And
we know someone who picked up A Course in Miracles. They were a minister. And so they picked up The Course in Miracles because they thought that the book was going to teach them how to do miracles. And how to perform great miracles for people. And when they saw that it wasn't,
they put it on the shelf.
And it stayed on the shelf for years.
And he's been ministered for 50 years. And now in their 51st year, the course has come back to them as a resource for them.
But it's funny because he teaches some of the exact same principles. I mean, the whole 9 yards without reading the book. He has this. He already has that same the same awareness. I mean, the same consciousness. The whole 9 yards.
Kyle, don't let us run over here. We're just jabbering, man.
Oh no, this is awesome. I think what we do at the end is we do this collective prayer where we harness like the incredible energy that was just built up. We're gonna have to have you guys back on because you guys were incredible. I can tell everyone loved you. So what we'll do is we'll share your contact information with everybody. So like this is like just like us. It's just the start of an incredible conversation and friendship.
Yeah, maybe next time, Kyle, we can incorporate some of our most valuable principles from our coaching business.
Oh, 100%.
Because again, life is integration, and we
love to see people get to their yes.
We love to help or to see people get to your yes. And there's some things that we can share with your community that will help propel them forward in living the life that they really love. Because
send those links to me, because what we do is one of our members after every meeting, she'll post all the links to our Facebook group or anything you guys referenced, any quotes, it'll be up there.
Oh, great.
Okay.
Yeah.
But this has been unbelievable, and we want to really close out with you guys with your standard prayer or coming together. So thank you.
Thank you, Kristen.
Great energy, guys. Great energy.
Yes.
All right, so what we do now is we just take a second to kind of gather up that collective energy, that high frequency that we generated, and we dedicate the merit of this meeting to all of those who are awakening at this precious time. May our efforts to better ourselves help shift planetary consciousness from fear into love. May this energy ripple out into the world and awaken those with closed hearts, illuminate closed minds, and inspire all to live within the presence of compassion and generosity. Thank you guys so much. It was a beautiful meeting.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Everyone unmute yourselves and let's all say goodbye to you.
Yeah,
everybody.
We'll see
Can
each other next time.
Can you unmute everyone?
Yeah, heck yeah. Hold on one sec. All right, everybody unmute yourselves.
Yeah.
Bye, y'all. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Great
Bye.
energy, guys. Great
Love
energy.
you.
fam.
Love the hummingbird. Look at
Yes.
that.
Love you, Sarah, Jeremy,
Thank you, Rick.
Danny,
Thanks, Kyle.
Joe,
you.
Sherwood, Catherine, Quantum, Kristen. Is that with an I or an E, Kristen?
It's with an I.
Okay, our
So
Kristen
daughter
is
is a Kristen.
with
She's
an I.
K-R-I-S-T-I-N.
Yes, Angela, Linda,
Hi, thank you.
Longer Life Podcast.
That's it.
Yeah,
I love
we
you
see you
guys.
out there. Kyle,
Love
Danny. We
My
see
mom
you.
was
We
on the
love
call
you.
and she texted me saying
Love
you
you.
guys were great. So you guys
Oh,
have
wow.
officially
Thank
made
you.
it.
Great.
Take
We
care,
love
guys.
you.